What's up, guys? Welcome back to Strictly Casual. All of the breaks, all the stops are off. This is the Batman spoiler cast, baby. If you haven't seen the movie yet, I don't know what you're doing here. Get out. Go see the movie. Unless you just like spoilers. Then welcome along. Buckle in. We're going for a ride. All holds... What is it? What's the phrase? Is it no holds barred?
No,
Is that
no
holding back? I don't know.
No holding back.
No holding back.
Yeah.
No holding back.
No holding back. We're getting straight into it. Vincent, what do you got for me? You're fired up.
Let's talk about the biggest spoiler in the whole movie.
Oh, off the bat, okay.
Right off the bat.
Uh-huh.
The Riddler and the Penguin are not the main bad guys in this movie.
They're not.
Carmine
It's
Falcone
insane.
is the bad guy in this movie. And guess what? John Turturro maybe has the best performance in the whole movie.
Yeah.
I'll say it right now.
Which is
He's
also
incredible.
insane.
Yes.
Because there's so many great performances in this movie.
He's so good as Carmine Falcone. Like James said, we had to cut it out of the spoiler-free review, but this is a freaking mob movie, baby, and I love mob so much, okay? It's great. It is so good. That's what I want to start off with.
And for getting into Falcone, we have to talk about probably another cool twist, right? Is that Selena Kyle is the daughter to Carmine Falcone. And I think it's a twist.
I forgot about that.
And it's welcome because it's like, whoa, we have never seen Catwoman and Falcone related, but the fact that they're connected makes sense for this type of story in this genre, and it fits so well into the overarching kind of character arc for Selena and, you know, what's Bruce going to do, as well as for Falcone as well.
Does Falcone get shot on the steps coming out of the club?
Yeah.
He gets sniped. That was insane.
Well, that's when they find out where Riddler's apartment is, because he's like right outside the nightclub.
Yeah.
Some of the big spoilers for this film, and kind of talking about what we felt about this film, right? We talk about Bruce Wayne's arc and who he is, right? I think we can get into that and who Bruce Wayne is and how the Batman and how he starts from one place, right? And we've seen in the trailers, I'm vengeance, this anger, this grittiness, right? And he has a purpose for what he's doing, Batman. You know why he's Batman? He's angry, right? Like we know, his parents and all that. But toward the overarching of the film, reveals with Carmine Falcone and his parents and Riddler kind of saying, hey, you're like me. You have this anger. He becomes a new person, and it shifts from vengeance to justice, which I think is, you know, like we say, great arc. And he becomes more of, I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing this for the city of Gotham.
And it was very tied to his parents and their identity. But as he like learns about his parents through the Riddler, it's this almost like it's this give and take between the two of like, since the Riddler is in this position of like you and me are similar, he's also hell-bent on exposing the Waynes. And so like through that, Robert Pattinson is like facing this cognitive dissonance of like, what is going on? Like, who are my parents, you know? And so because I think if I'm remembering correctly, he is writing a lot on the identity of his parents. Right.
Yeah.
And then his confrontation of his parents' identity causes him to rethink his own identity. As the Batman and what that means for Gotham City.
That arc is so important. That arc is so important from vengeance to justice and how he gets there. And without that arc, this movie would not be as good as it is. Yes, it would still nail the tone. It would still be like nail biting sequences, some great scenes and stuff. But that arc seriously nails it in as a great superhero movie right there.
Absolutely.
Let's go. Do you guys have a favorite scene you want to get into?
For me, it probably has to be the action scene with the Batmobile chase. The Batmobile chase for the Penguin. Oh, yeah. I'm excited to hear yours. But
that's good.
The Batmobile chase scene was so well thought out, I think, in the choreography of this chase. And I think there's even character work even with what the Penguin's doing, right? The Penguin's driving away from Batman and he's so angry that he's crashing these trucks, and the setup is there too. That's why I love visually there is setup, right? You see these like a tanker truck, a cement truck, or like a concrete, it's like a loading truck, and you see all this setup there. So when finally you see a ramp drop down, and you know what's gonna happen. So when Penguin's yelling out, I got you, you're like, oh my god, there's a ramp there. He's gonna drives through and he wrecks the Penguin's car, which I'm sad that they showed it in one of the trailers, because that wreckage of the car was like the most shocking thing, because you just think, oh, he bumped him and he got him, but then you see Batmobile stops and like you're like, oh my god, and then he pulls out upside down with cinematography, and you're like, yep, so just cool. Like a bat. Great and it's show. Like that scene right there for me was like just nail in the coffin that this is like cool. You got the acting, you got the grittiness, but you also have the fierceness of the action. You're fearless, you know? Yeah. And I think that was it for me.
I have to give a brief criticism of that scene.
Okay.
Because some of the Riddler's, not Riddler, some of the Penguin's lines in that were laughably bad, in my opinion. Like some of the times when he was
Mm.
just like laughing, he was like, and it felt like it was out of a Lego game.
Well,
And I
yeah,
was like,
That's
I
good,
would always
baby.
say that that's
I was like,
Penguin,
this is
That's
just
the
a little
Penguin.
It's like,
ridiculous.
oh,
Maybe, yeah, maybe it
man,
is
what's
just-
going on here with the hourglass? And
I did like Colin Farrell in this movie.
I did too.
I'm a big Colin Farrell fan. It's hard for me to not like.
Oh, do you know what was a
Mhm.
good Colin Farrell scene when they were under the bridge and it
And
was
he's
I think it was right
tied up
after that scene and he's tied up and they're interrogating him.
with Gordon also.
oh yeah,
Great
Yes.
scene.
he does the waddle, and it's like a little joke. I got you.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
All right, James, favorite scene.
Favorite scene has to be Robert Pattinson, Paul Dano in the same
Oh,
room
that's right.
at the prison.
Did Riddler know who Bruce Wayne was? That he's Batman or no? He did not, right? Because
This was-
he said Bruce Wayne, right? Batman's freaking out, and then the reaction of him, like when he's like, Bruce Wayne is like, I'm gonna get Bruce Wayne, you know, Batman, and then you see Robert like settle, and he's like, oh, so you don't know who I am, and I thought
Yeah.
that was the thing to know.
This point is so this is one of the
People
best
keep
parts of the
saying-
movie.
Yeah,
No, this is the best part of the movie because you are in there. You are in the same headspace as Robert Pattinson as Batman.
Mhm.
You are in the same spot of does he know? Does he not know? We're
Yeah.
thinking the same thing
Yeah, like-
Batman's thinking. We're trying to figure it out along with him,
Mhm.
and we don't know. That's the thing.
no, but he doesn't. He
so
doesn't.
good.
I'm settling on
It's
he
so
does not know.
good!
Riddler doesn't know, and I think that's what's cool.
No,
Mm.
I know in the end he doesn't know, but like you
That
go
first
like
moments was like
as you go through that
Bruce Wayne,
process,
and
like,
you're like,
leading up to that moment, because it seems like he does.
yeah, the way
And
he
you're
words
asking
it.
the question, you're like, wait, is he? And at first I'm like, wait a second, this is like bad writing, like this is not clear.
Well, how does he
But
know?
then I'm like,
Bruce
Bruce
Wayne
Wayne's thinking the same
Will,
thing.
blah blah blah. And he's like, I'm just like Bruce Wayne, right, Batman? And he's like, oh, so you have no idea that I am, do you?
Yeah. But there's this whole dynamic of we don't know if the Riddler knows that Bruce Wayne is Batman
Mhm.
because he's all like, oh, Bruce, like, I hate Bruce Wayne. I'm trying to like kill Bruce Wayne, whatever. And we're right there with Bruce Wayne as he's trying to figure out, does the Riddler know who I am? And for the longest time, I was like, wait a second, this just isn't clear. Like, I don't know if he knows that Bruce Wayne is Batman or not. And I just love it when directors and writers and films can put you in the position of a
Mhm.
character and make them feel exactly what they're feeling.
I think my favorite scene in the entire movie is the funeral scene. It is so good. I mean, okay, it's a spoiler review, obviously. So the guy's got the bomb around the neck,
Mhm.
right? And then
Yep.
he's got the phone call thing where he's on FaceTime with Riddler and he's giving him riddles and like countdowns to solve different riddles so this bomb does not go off this guy's head.
Mhm.
And it is so intense. It is so intense. I
His
literally was
butt
grabbing
clenching.
my seat a little bit because
Yeah.
they've already shown in this movie that they're not afraid to hold back. I feel like in
yeah.
any other superhero movie at all, I would have been like, this guy's gonna be safe. Like there's no
Yep.
stakes here.
Yeah.
There's no stakes. Like
The
this guy's
stakes
gonna
are
be fine.
high in
The
this
stakes are
movie.
so high in this movie. I'm like, they could kill him. They could kill him right now.
Yeah, they pushed the PG-13 rating to its max.
Oh, they really
Because
do.
there were some scenes that I was watching, and I was like, this is rated R. Like when the flooding comes, and you're seeing a crowd of
God.
people
Oh,
being
shit, I
slaughtered by
forgot about
waves and cars, and you're like,
Yeah.
they have to. That's like
This thing-
horrible.
I
That's
was
rated
like,
R.
this is ridiculous.
Yeah,
I was
it's
like,
insane.
it cannot get bigger than this. He really flooded the entire city.
Which was a crazy twist in itself.
Mhm.
I'm so pissed. There's a shot in the new trailer that shows one of the
Some of the
things
waves.
blowing up and some
Yeah.
water coming in. I'm like, no,
That's the Riddler's
No.
main plan. Yeah. And see, that goes into what made the Riddler so good for me is that, okay, he's doing these. He needs the riddles, but he also needs the mastermind plan because he is a genius at the end of the day.
Dude.
And so he's like, I fool you, Batman. I'm flooding
Yeah.
Gotham. Like, oh.
homie read 10 pages of the Bible. He's like, this is it. This is what I gotta do. Flood the city.
Yeah. But he really swindled Batman there because he was like, yeah, you thought I got all the GCPD. I got the mayor. I got all the corruption in the city, but also I'm flooding all the corruption. It's like, whoa, this guy had trucks planned. And then he also had the biggest thing ever, which is what we talked about in the non-spoiler review, the themes of being an
Dude,
he was a
we have to-
terrorist. So let's
Like
get into
he's
it.
a terrorist, but he's going from this platform
Mhm.
of like I am for like real justice. Like
Yeah.
I am subverting like the GCPD, like
Social
everything's corrupt.
media?
Like Vincent, you're ready to burst. Go for it.
The Riddler is an Instagram influencer in this damn movie.
He's a Twitch
Okay,
streamer, man.
homie pops up. He goes on Instagram Live, and chat's blowing up.
They're like,
Chat's
yeah,
blowing up.
yeah,
Chat
yeah.
loves him.
And dude, this is what's so crazy to me, bro, is it just makes sense. Like, it sounds stupid what I'm saying right now, but you watch the movie and you're like, this is exactly what an
A modern
absolutely
day, yeah.
psychopathic modern person would do.
Mhm.
And there's people that are like
People who eat
culty.
that shit up.
They eat it up and they become like him, bro.
Like,
At the
Yeah.
end of the
QAnon
movie-
level, like
Yes.
It goes into
It is
America's
totally a commentary on like the
the
QAnon
love
esque
of
like
serial killers.
radical
Yeah.
like type
It's
beat.
so good. I mean, literally just seeing like people dress up like the Riddler in that final scene to go fight
Oh
Batman,
my
like all that
gosh.
kind of stuff.
It was
I was like,
haunting. It was scary.
It's so scary. It is
Yeah.
scary.
Yeah.
It is
In the
eerie.
best way.
It is
The best way, yeah.
eerie.
Yeah, there are people that are following on the path of,
Yeah.
and the biggest reveal when he lays down, one of the goons looks at Batman and says, I'm just vengeance. And that's
Yeah.
the click right there. He's like, oh my gosh, no, this is not what I need
They're
to be
the
doing.
same.
And that's
They're
the
the
switch.
same,
Yes,
baby.
it's amazing.
Yep. And
Dude, this is
that
a great
even
movie.
reinforces him and Riddler being the same,
Yeah.
you
Mhm.
know, and
This is a
how
great
much
film.
he views himself as Batman.
So you have
Also-
the Riddler as a mastermind, then you also have Carmine Falcone being like, I run the city. Like it's crazy how all these villains have their own impactful moment to the gravity of
There's so
Gotham.
much to like about this movie.
I guess we didn't get into this in our spoiler-free review, but this is a long-ass movie. Right when we think this movie could be over, it goes on for
It's another
30
mission.
minutes to
Yeah.
the
Did it feel like
yeah.
it dragged to you? To both of you, like
No,
dead
I
honest
don't
on it.
think I don't think it was a drag, but it was like, oh, this is a long movie. And I remember
Yeah.
saying that twice. Like there's
Mhm.
two moments.
Yeah.
First is I forgot what the first one was, but the second one was definitely when the flooding started. Cause I was like,
There's
wait
at
a
least 30
second.
minutes
Yeah,
left.
it's the whole
Yeah,
that's
no,
how
because
accurate.
before the flooding, I was like, oh well, he has to stop the flooding because this movie is almost over. And then it goes on for a whole nother
Dude,
act.
Yeah.
So Carmine Falcone dies, and they have that whole wrap up.
You're like,
you know,
"Hey, we got
Batman
the
goes
bad
into
guy."
the apartment. You're like, dude, 5 more minutes left of this movie. They're gonna
Oh.
wrap it up. It's gonna be
Oh,
perfect.
right.
Yeah.
And I thought Riddler was gonna be like the second movie. I was like, oh, okay, they can tie a bow around that and then like
Oh,
keep all the rest of
really?
the Riddler
That'd be
stuff for a
crazy,
second
actually.
movie.
You know, 'cause
That's what I thought was gonna happen.
I was thinking of
And-
trailer clips. That's why. So I'm thinking like, oh wait a
Oh,
second, what
see,
about
that's
this?
right,
I know
true.
exactly. Yeah, I know. For me, it
Yeah.
adds to it because I'm like looking forward to how they execute it. Right? That's just me, but I know I'm the minority here.
Sure.
But yeah, you're right because you're watching it and it goes into like the Arkham Knight video games, right? You spend 2 hours. I just fought Harvey Dent, Two-Face, and you're like, okay, Alfred, time to go. Oh nope, I got another crime. And it's like a whole long night, and you're like, Batman's out all night fighting different rogues gallery villains, and that's all you could hope for from a detective rogue style film. This is the ultimate Batman film in that respect,
But
Yeah.
that being said, all that being said, it never drags. Like
No,
there is never a
never
moment where
does.
I'm like,
Yeah.
this movie is so long.
which goes into the pacing. Like that, you gotta give it to them,
Pacing's
man.
great.
Pacing's great.
It is very good pacing.
They've somehow made it work.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
somehow made it work.
Let's talk about kind of the setup on what they're doing for the Batman in the future. Now we saw it at the end. Riddler's trapped in Arkham Asylum. He's there, he's at Arkham State Hospital, I believe, and we see hints of what's probably
Unnamed Arkham prisoner.
unnamed Arkham prisoner, but it is the Joker played by
Absolutely Joker.
Barry Keoghan, right? And everyone's been talking about this for a long time. He's playing Officer Stanley Merkel, but he's not. He's the Joker. And what do we think? Is that a setup for the next film,
Well,
possibly?
This is one of those things that I'm a little on right
Uh-huh.
now because months and months and months ago, people were like, "Oh, Barry's in this movie. Barry's playing Joker."
I don't
Barry's-"
know how they would. Yeah, I don't know.
I
how.
have no idea how. Like, even going into the movie, we knew that something was going to happen because of the stupid internet, because of stupid Twitter. right?
Leaks, man. It's insane.
Leaks,
It's
I guess.
insane. I
And
don't
he literally has no dialogue. He just laughs, or maybe he says one thing, but it's
Yeah.
so muffled. I honestly couldn't even tell you what he says in the
Oh,
movie.
he's talking to Riddler about like, hey, we need a friend together. He has like a weird like
Oh,
voice
that's
he's doing.
right.
He's like,
Yeah.
I like riddles too, and they're both laughing together. It's like, oh, nice team ups and villains going against Batman. Everybody hates Batman, all the villains.
And you know what? I'm sold. I'm sure it's gonna be great. Barry's
So
so
sold.
good.
I can't
Yeah, we're all
fucking
sold,
wait.
yeah.
He's so good.
Yep.
He's my ideal Joker, maybe.
That's crazy. That's
And it
crazy.
works because they're both
Yeah.
young, and I think they have a lot to grow into their characters, right? So, and like you said, this is the craziest thing ever. If Riddler was dark, literal terrorist, imagine how far the Joker and how they're gonna
I
stretch
can't.
it.
If the Riddler was dark in this movie, how the Joker's gonna be
Joker's gonna be a psychopath. He's gonna be killing people.
I can't wait for okay, so I'm even thinking about, like, the social commentary that the Riddler stands for, like, how are they
Yeah.
gonna employ those themes and allow Joker to really play into those other,
Mhm.
social political themes?
And they've already kind of done that with Joaquin's Joker and how, mental health and stuff like that. So
Exactly.
it's the sky's the limit with this version.
Give me more Batman injected into my veins.
I gotta talk about Zoe Kravitz
Oh yeah, let's hear it.
and
Yeah,
and
give me
The
Batman
relationship.
rant a little bit.
Batman.
okay, so starting out in the first, I don't know, it was maybe like late first act of the movie, there's the scene with Batman and Catwoman, and they're doing the detective shit together, and they're going back and forth trying to get her to do it his way, but she's like,
Mhm.
no, I'm gonna do it my way. And it's great. It feels so great. But then with like every rooftop, not rooftop, but like construction rooftop scene, I'm just, and this is Vin, you disagree with me on this, and I think that actually it made make more sense to me.
Yeah.
But right, but I was like, I'm not sold on this whatsoever. Like there is no chemistry here
Mhm.
at all. When I always felt like things were always hot and heavy for Selena Kyle and Bruce Wayne. But like watching this, I was like, I just am not sold that they're really into each other. Like I felt it more in the first half, but in the second half, I just feel like this is falling flat.
Mhm.
Like
What
really falling flat for me.
to which I was saying earlier that
Hmm.
I don't think the purpose of Selena Kyle and Batman's relationship is supposed to be
Full on romance yet?
romance.
Not yet. It's platonic.
No,
It's year
they
2
just
for
met
like
each other.
yeah.
Yeah.
They
Right.
have a long they have kids like way in the future. So like this is just the
Oh,
start of what I mean. So
that reminds me of like one of my other favorite scenes in this
mhm.
movie is when Cat puts the contact in and she's at the club
Mhm.
and Batman's in her ear telling her what to
That's what I
do.
was just
Like,
talking about.
so sorry. Yeah, that's a great scene. My bad. Zoned out for a sec. I like totally phased out just for
Yeah,
a hot sec.
they're doing the detective work. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that was a
But
great
Yeah.
scene.
And see,
it is such a great
I
scene.
think they have a great relationship when it comes to like the superhero business, right? But when it comes to the relationship, they're both kind of working it out and they're both feeling the waters and they both want that. I think they desire that at the end of the day, but they both know they can't do it and they're both like, I don't even know if I want it. So it's like
And
a
they
second,
quite literally go their
yeah.
separate ways
They
at the end of the
quite
movie.
literally, yeah.
Quite literally,
Quite
they
Which
do.
literally.
I mean, we've seen it before in video games and in other iterations. They'll probably
That was a
reenact
long
again.
ass scene.
It was long.
What, the end?
I feel like that was a little bit of a drawn out scene. Them like on the road together, like driving their
Oh,
respective vehicles.
Yeah.
I hate that. I was like, so good.
Yep. Yeah. Lastly, for me, when stuff eating up, it has to be for me Michael Giacchino's theme, right? And I think they use the theme a lot,
Mm.
but for me, I was like, yes, give it to me a lot, and you have it in a hero shot when he's walking in the dark, right? When he's fighting goons and it's just him, dun, 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 and it's just roaring in your ears. That is the time you use it. When he's in the Batmobile and he crashes through, it's just blasting that theme, and that's when you. And I think, like I said, every detail goes into this film and it makes an impact. The theme adds to this whole film on a whole other level, and it just makes this film elevated, honestly, for the Batman, because it's
Absolutely.
like, give me the theme, and you have to see an IMAX because it roars, and it's just it adds to it. And
See
I'm
it in
just
IMAX.
like, give me that theme, give it to me. I want it.
There's a lot of movies that I would say are not worth it for where I would say it justifies the price of seeing it on the biggest screen possible with the
Mhm.
best sound system possible.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this, like, the best thing the best thing I could say about this movie is that it makes an impact, and it's going to make an impact.
That's gonna be
Yep.
talked about for a long time.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so. I can't wait to revisit this like maybe a year or two after it comes out or something and see
Mhm.
if it does have the impact that we think it will have,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Because we don't know. We
Yeah.
don't know. It's one of those things like 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line, will people hold this as like, oh my God, this is
In
like
the
a
same way
new
we do, like,
standard.
Christopher Nolan Dark
Yeah.
Knight.
Will it? Who knows?
It
Okay,
seems like
so, like,
now
that's
overall
another
impressions.
question, like, can we compare this movie to The Dark Knight or any of the Christopher Nolan films?
I'd say maybe the Batman Begins because he's trying to, but they go. It's literally like a split. Why? Like with Robert Pattinson, his whole motivations to being Batman is different from I think Christian Bale's. It seems different. To
Yeah.
me. Like
And
Well,
I'm
I'm talking
not.
about in terms of, like, what the films do for the culture.
Mm,
I think this is like a newer generation's like this is a pin in a new start, right? Because Ben Affleck, poor guy. I know the Justice League was all kind of kerfuffled,
R.I.P.
but I like him, but yeah, it was a little kerfuffled with the movies. But I think what Dark Knight did for that era is what this new Batman's gonna do for this era. I think it's a new generation now. It's somewhat a new generation. I think it's a pin.
Right.
It's interesting. It's so interesting. It's fascinating, and I
Yes.
cannot wait to see.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching along with us on our spoiler cast. Comment down below your thoughts. Let's keep the conversation going. Yeah, thanks for watching. Subscribe for more. We got more content coming. We'll see you all in the next video.